Leonídas, welcome. You're a very tough man to pin down. Are you very, very busy at Verbier this time?
Well, I mean, it's always busy here, but this year so far has been, quite busy. Lots of rehearsals, preparation, but that's how it is here. So
Let's talk about Bach, because you gave a wonderful concert the other night where you played the concertos. I get the feeling with a lot of musicians, Bach is always there. It's always there, and then at some time in their career they think, actually, I want to share it with other people. I mean, is that the same with you? I mean, you presumably have been playing Bach all your life.
Well, it's true. I think Bach is, of course, a very fundamental part of music education and also instrumental education, with all instruments. He was, one of the most prolific composers ever existed, and he wrote so much and for practically all the instruments. So there is nobody who learns a musical instrument who does not have a contact and a already early contact with Bach. However, the interpretation of his music is, is another story, because I feel that it's very, how can I say, it's very difficult to arrive to, so to say, what any artist, of course it can be different, not the same for everybody, considers the center of Bach's music, and therefore with that base and form and interpretation. That takes time for many reasons, partly because, of course, his slow music is very much like improvisations. But of course, the improvisation is a very special talent, and above all, it needs complete control of where you are at every time, every second. Otherwise, when you lose the form, so to say, the frame, then there is no more improvisation, and it becomes chaos. So Bach had this unique talent of improvising, which one can see in all of his music. But to make the improvisation, in this case written improvisation, sound imaginative and sound fresh and sound as if one is discovering the music, that is something that is it's an art of itself. I mean, it's something that doesn't matter how well one can play the instrument. This is something that you have to learn on the side, and it takes time. This is the one element. The other element, of course, is that his music, and especially his fast movements, when he was exploring also with fugues and with everything, is extremely complicated to figure out. And it needs, again, time to understand not only how much one should do, but also how much one should not do. And that is probably what is even harder with his music. Therefore, I imagine that most of us artists feel better with Bach later in their lives, even though they might play it from very early. So same thing goes with me. I studied Bach as a kid, as a student. All his solo music, practically almost all of his concertos at a very early stage. Then I went to competitions. I played Bach. One had to at that time. And then at some point, I thought that this is not going anywhere. And I arrived in front of a wall, which I thought, okay, now for me it's time to stop and now think and see how I can find a way around this music, not in the way that I learned it as a student, but in a way that is probably going to be a way that I can communicate with an audience. And that took me about almost 10 years of not playing Bach, just studying, along with other things that I was playing, but I limited completely, I would say I eliminated Bach's music in my programs and plans until a few years ago, when I felt that I was ready to bring this music to and share this music with audiences, also trying and bringing new things in the way that I would interpret in terms of even from violin playing, in terms of, for instance, analysis of the polyphony. Because the violin is not by nature a polyphonic instrument. Of course, if Bach was here, and even he's not, his music, his solo sonatas and partitas, they prove that it can be a polyphonic instrument. I searched a lot. I tried and I studied, and I was, really questioning everything that I was doing. And finally, I arrived to a point where I felt that this is now possible.
Now, the other night you performed with the Apollon Ensemble. Was that put together with the Bach in mind, or is this just happens to be a program you've done together?
No, well, that was, of course, put together with Bach in mind. And it fits very well to what I was trying to tell you before, because what we do is that the concertos, normally, you have a soloist and a small group, which is the orchestra. For Bach, you don't need a big orchestra, but nevertheless, normally you have, I would say, at least 15, 20 players. Here, what we did was that, looking at the scores, I thought that it's very possible that we will have one player per voice, and therefore make it, a completely polyphonic experience, acoustically and also in the way we play it, because every single note that Bach has written in the score for the concertos is becoming personal, because there's only one person playing that voice. There's not even, not even two. And so I thought, I wanted to experiment with this and see whether it works, first of all, because I played the concertos with chamber orchestras. Even here we did, a few years ago in Verbier. And I always enjoyed it that way as well. But here was going to be something that was very different. And I hadn't seen it happen before. And I thought, okay, I want to try that and see what happens, how it works. We have a very strong harpsichord player in the group, which helps a lot. Mm-hmm. And from the first rehearsals, we were all quite amazed how well it works, and also how flexible it can be. Because when you just have one player, it's like real chamber music, and it's just it goes by itself in a way. So, and then we saw that it fits, and then we started really digging into the score and figuring it out and deciding, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that, and then we arrived to a performance result that I feel is convincing. And then, I thought that we can do this in front of people, and then we record it and everything.
Wonderful.
And I'm very, very happy that I could bring the Apollon here to Verbier. Because here this is a place where everything is possible in the best sense, and both the people who run the festival and the audiences are very open to hear. You have very many this rencontres inédites, what they call, which means that we get together with people who never played before, and we just form within 2-3 days a result of chamber music. Which needs a very specific way of approaching music and coexisting with colleagues, with great colleagues. And this has been a great success here in this festival. So it's not necessarily that it would be a success in many other places. So here the audiences are quite open, and of course the people who run it, so it helped. And this idea with the Apollon, of course, when I discussed it with Martin, he was very open and he was very happy to have it.
It was a fabulous concert. And we should point out, actually, that it's on Medici, so anybody can go back and see it.
Could not be at the concert, can't see it on
Absolutely.
Medici.
Well,
thank you so much for coming.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.